Alrighty.
If that is what could be said about what's happening here today.
It's okay. As we talk about this weird book, it'll pick up.
That's true. At least we're talking about something that's like
engaging.
Certainly engaging. So, hey y'all, welcome back to 50%. I'm Katey.
And I'm Abigail.
And oh boy, do we have a ride for you guys this week.
We knew this was going to be a weird one. I don't think I was fully prepared.
This was your suggestion, so this is on you.
This is on me. Because I saw Sally Thorne and was like, oh, you know.
As you do.
Big name. Let's see how it is. And also, most spooky Halloween romances are about witches. And so
right.
I was intrigued by this one. And boy, oh boy.
Intrigued is the right word.
Yes. So today we are talking about Angelika Frankenstein Makes Her Match.
Which, a moment of appreciation for the title.
A great pun.
Great pun. The cover's great. Very, like, Victorian era romance, which is exactly what it is.
Yes.
So, whoa, this book was fucking weird.
Yes.
I don't mean that in a bad way either. Not entirely.
Not entirely. I don't know how I feel about this book.
So, the thing that I told you, because I finished this book like a day or two before you started it, right?
Right.
And so the thing that I told you was to read it like it's fan fiction.
Yes.
Because it literally is, as I learned in the acknowledgments at the end of the book.
Right. Which I did appreciate the warning, but it almost wasn't ridiculous enough to be fan fiction for me. Like, it kind of was too in the middle of where it was like it was ridiculous, and I truly believe Sally Thorne knows that, but I almost need it to be even more ridiculous.
How does it get more ridiculous than this? I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean.
I don't know.
I also think, like, Sally Thorne is a successful author for a reason.
Right.
And so it's, like, kind of, I guess, hard to, like, because she's a good writer.
Right. Or I just couldn't get past the thought of fucking a guy who was dead.
Yeah, there is.
Weeks previously.
Yeah, this is a weird one. Anyway.
So here we are for our first spooky romance of October. We're doing a double book club month because we love October. We love a spooky romance.
Why not?
Yeah, we thought we'd kick it off with this one. We figured we'd get the ridiculous one out of the way before we went to
the witchy one.
The witchy one. Because obviously we had to do a witchy one.
Of course. And, like, listen. Okay, for one thing, I have to apologize for my voice because I feel like I consistently have to apologize for my voice on this podcast because your girl's always raspy. But we're always recording this when I am on the heels of some kind of big work thing where I've been talking a lot.
We are in Katey's true busy season, and we are both fresh off of a weekend-long music festival where Katey was working and I was just there screaming. So we're both a little lower energy today.
A little low energy. I feel I'm extra Lindsay Lohan rasp today, which is my usual vibe, but more so today than usual.
It's like in Friends when Phoebe has that cold and she's like, I sound so good.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, I have very like late night Delilah radio host vibes going on right now. So now that that's out of the way, what a fucking weird book. So shall I read this blurb?
Yes, let's refresh the audience on this weird fucking book.
For generations, every Frankenstein has found his or her true love and equal, unlocking lifetimes of blissful wedded adventure. But clever, pretty, and slightly odd Angelika Frankenstein. Slightly odd is certainly an understatement here.
Slightly, just slightly.
But clever, pretty, and slightly odd Angelika Frankenstein has run out of suitors, and she fears she may become the exception to this family rule. As she assists her brother Victor in his groundbreaking experiment to bring a reassembled man back to life, she embarks upon a side project that is all her own. When Angelika's handsome scientific miracle wakes up on the operating table, her wishes for an instant romantic connection are dashed. Her resurrected beau, named Will for the moment, has total amnesia and is solely focused on uncovering his true identity. Trying to ignore their heart-pounding chemistry, Angelika reluctantly joins the investigation into his past, hoping it will bring them closer. But perhaps fate is not something that can be created in a laboratory, or is Will, or whoever he is, her dream man tailored for her in every way. And can he survive what was done to him in the name of science and love? So, that's that.
Here we go.
Okay, so let's just get into it. Start us off. Where does this book start, Abigail?
So this book quite literally starts with them at the morgue harvesting body parts or bodies, whole bodies. They have done this before.
Hang on, BeReal just went off.
Did it really? Oh, yeah. Great. We look so good.
Anyway, it was time to be real, but now we are here talking about
being truly real.
Literally the least real thing I can think of.
So the book.
So we start
at the morgue.
As you do.
With Victor and Angelika Frankenstein, who are siblings. And they are harvesting bodies for their science experiments.
Listen, I love the opening line to this book. Like, not the prologue, but like the opening line of the first chapter is so good. It's, Angelika Frankenstein knew what physical qualities her ideal man should have. Unfortunately, she had to find those attributes at the morgue. Ugh. And when I read this, I was like, fuck yeah, this is going to be so great.
That is a very good opening line. And in the prologue, or in the author's note, I think Sally Thorne said that was the first line she had written for the book. And then it made the cut.
Yeah, it was so good. But we do have a prologue before this that's kind of this like cute little scene settery moment where they're talking about like the house that they're living in, like having like kind of
anthropomorphic, right?
I have no idea. Whatever. Yes. The anthropomorphizing the house. Yeah. Wow.
Humanizing the house? Whatever.
I'm going to leave that in because we sound stupid, but it's funny.
What's new?
What's new? Anyway, so they're like talking about this house, and I wrote in my notes like how very Shirley Jackson of Sally Thorne to start this book off this way. Anyway, so it starts with this like cute little like prologue.
For that prologue, you thought Shirley Jackson, a much more cultured reference. Well, I thought of that DreamWorks movie, Monster House. A great movie that scared the shit out of me as a kid.
What is Monster House if not a modern children's retelling of The Haunting of Hill House?
Great point. That makes me feel so much better. Wow.
Anyway, we're at the fucking morgue. There's this great first line.
And yeah, they've done this before. They've had many a science experiment with these bodies.
They're friends with the like mortician, Undertaker, whatever you'd like to call him, who's kind of a delightful side character because he's so cranky.
I know. I wanted more of him.
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? Yeah. Why are y'all always here?
Yeah. And then, so Angelika finds her man. And
so we learn that Victor Frankenstein is doing what Victor Frankenstein does, and he's building a science experiment, essentially.
He's trying to just outshine this other scientist, apparently.
Yeah, he's like in competition with this other like inventor, scientist type man, and he's trying to do what he does in the actual Frankenstein book, right, and bring a man to life.
Angelika, however, is at Build-A-Boyfriend and is just harvesting the most handsome men she can find.
I loved this because obviously it's ridiculous, but it was like a fun thought exercise of like,
how would I stitch
together a man?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Right? Because I'm not like, obviously physical attractiveness is important.
Well, yeah.
But I had never literally been like, I need this type of arms and this type of abs and this type of face and hair.
I have never thought of that either. All of my boyfriends have looked extremely different. So I'm not even positive I have a type or what I would paste onto my dream boyfriend, unless it was 2004 Billy Joe Armstrong. My true dream boyfriend.
The second time you've made that reference in the last 24 hours.
I know. It is always true. I've made it on this podcast too.
You probably have. But most importantly, Angelika is concerned about dick size.
Yes. Oh my God. There are a lot of dick jokes in this book.
Listen, it's so funny because they generally happen when you kind of least expect them.
They really do. And some
which
of them,
which I found so entertaining.
Some of them come from her brother to her, which I was like, ooh, this is a lot.
It's so funny. It's so funny because it's just so over the top. Well, and I've been watching that Netflix show Dated and Related.
Oh, yeah.
And so that weirdly ties into this sibling dynamic too.
You know what? You're right. Plug for that show on Netflix.
I've been watching it all day today.
I need to watch an episode.
It's a ride. Anyway, so she picks the second biggest dick in the morgue.
You can't be too greedy.
Can't be too greedy.
Yeah. No.
Wasn't she genuinely like, I think that one's too big?
I think so. She asked Victor, and he was like, I can't answer that for you. Also, they were using the C word for it, which I hate saying out loud, so I won't do it. It just sounds gross.
This is a C word free podcast.
Yeah, we're not prudish by many means, but God, I hate that one.
I know it's not even being a prude. It's just, I don't know. It feels very porny.
It does.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Anyway,
we're classy around here.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah,
talking about Frankenstein dick.
Fan fiction.
Anyway, so Angelika is just being realistic. She's like, what kind of dick would I realistically? And you know what? You have to respect her for it. So they take home their men, their dead bodies, and they, spoiler alert, reanimate both of them.
Yes, and they do it by dunking them in barrels of sheep afterbirth.
Yeah.
Which did not register for a second until I realized, oh my God, this is like animal placenta.
Yeah. So if y'all are looking to do some like light necromancy, apparently sheep afterbirth. And listen, Sally Thorne, come on the pod because I want to know how. And it's been a long time since I've read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, but I don't think there was sheep afterbirth in it. I could be wrong.
I think you're right. I don't think there was sheep afterbirth.
I feel like I would remember. But I was 17 and I read it for like high school English class. So
so did I. I was 15 when we read it though, in freshman year.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess it could have been freshman year. What is time?
Either way, it was a long time ago.
So I don't know. Sally Thorne, let's talk.
Yeah, let's chat. I want to know what you know about reanimating dead people.
Right. Anyway, so Victor's monster comes to life and runs off, more or less, based on the original story.
He does, yeah.
That piece of the story is pretty accurate.
Actually, yeah. I reread the Wikipedia for Frankenstein, the novel, before I started this one. So that was a good little jumpstart reminder of, in the original, he reanimates his corpse stitched together and whatnot, and then it just like immediately takes off. And
is like terrorizing the town, which is pretty much what happens in this book.
Right.
This is like the side story.
It is like the side story.
Yeah. Spinoff.
Less murdery. While Victor's off trying to catch his guy, Angelika reanimates her dream man.
Yeah.
And
so I guess we need to point out that there's sort of been like a body swapping situation done on the two reanimated figures. So these two guys are basically like semi-merged. Like they're slightly different versions of each other. There's some body part swapping.
Yes. I should also say this book is kind of confusing. There's a lot going on.
Yes, exactly. So our man comes to life and is, of course, hella confused.
Right.
He's like, what the fuck? Who are you? This is not my body. Because it's his head on a different body, basically.
Right. Different hands. All his joints are stitched together.
Yeah. He's in a lot of pain.
Right. And suddenly he's with this rich woman who's like, I'm your mistress, and my brother is your new master, and you can stay here as long as you want.
She does it not unkindly, though. She's disappointed because she was picturing this, like, I'm going to reanimate this man and he's going to fall in love with me instantly and we're going to live happily ever after. Mm-hmm. She's very naive in that. She's, like, super, super smart. Like, she's a scientist, but she's, like, very naive in terms of, like, relationship stuff and, like, a lot of social stuff.
Yes.
She's pretty immature.
Yes.
But that doesn't happen. She sees that he's in a lot of pain, feels bad about it, and is like, okay, I gotta take care of this situation, but also still kind of low-key hoping he's got a thing for me.
This poor guy also keeps getting boners, and she just keeps staring at him.
Because it's a different body.
I know.
And I think the implication was that his, like, lower half had belonged in life to this man who was, like, kind of skeezy. So he was, like, constantly getting boners. That was my interpretation of it. I could be wrong. That was how I read it.
I don't hate that interpretation. I just thought it was another opportunity for Sally Thorne to make a dick joke.
You know, both. ¿Por qué no las dos?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, so he's in a lot of pain, and then she gives him a bath.
Admires his body.
I mean, why wouldn't you? But,
sure.
like,
her handiwork.
It's fucking creepy.
Yeah.
She's kind of given him the rundown of, like, what went down. And he's still hella confused because he's like, this is not my body. I don't know who I am. So he has no idea who he is. Like, he has no recollection of, like, dying or who he was in life or whatever. Right.
And so they are at an impasse almost. Angelika wants him to just, like, be in love with her. And he's like, I can't. I don't know who you are. And I don't know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this weird push and pull that he's feeling internally where I think he says that, like, my body wants you, but my brain does not at all.
Right.
So.
And he throughout this kind of first act of the book, the first third of the book, if you will, he doesn't seem not open to, like over time he warms up to her and he's like, you seem great, but I can't, like, let myself be in a relationship with you when I don't even know who I am.
Right.
So he's like, I mean, maybe we can do something after I figure out who the fuck I am.
Right. But until then, hands off.
Right. And then I can't remember at which point it is in this first act that it is revealed that, so the reanimated bodies have traded hands, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so on this monster that has run off is a hand with what is presumably a wedding ring on it.
Right. And it is the only clue they have to who Angelika's man, who they name Will for the time being, who Will might be. That's their only clue that they have right now. And it has run off and is nowhere to be found right now.
Right. And so Angelika, this is this is one of many more morally and ethically shady decisions that Angelika makes. But the most egregious first bad decision that Angelika makes is to not tell Will about the existence of this wedding ring. But on the other hand, they don't know that it's a wedding ring. It could just be a ring.
Right. They don't know.
They don't know.
Angelika is not an ethical person.
Right. Both her and Victor are very, like, only science, only care about, like, this. Well, I mean, she's like, I mainly care about love, but they're both, like, very, like, straight, like, we care about the science of this.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, kind of the rest of it falls by the wayside. And Angelika's like, I care about the science and I care about falling in love with someone.
Even if I have to build a man.
Right.
To fall in love with or whatever.
Right. You kind of have to put your reservations about, like, consent aside to read this book.
Yeah, which is kind of tough at times. I think, there's some things that Will says in the beginning of, like, why did you do this to me? Where it's like, ooh, yeah? It's not cool to take somebody's body from the morgue and dunk it in a barrel of afterbirth and bring it back to life.
Right.
What if he didn't want that? Which at first it seemed like, no, he did not.
Which I do appreciate that Sally Thorne, like, at least brought that up.
Right.
You know, like, at least raised that question, because it's not like I wouldn't have thought of it on my own, but I was in full on, like, I'm reading this fantasy novel, so I am, like, suspending all my disbelief. You know, I'm turning the part of my brain that puts up red flags off because this is a fantasy novel.
Right, right.
So it's nice that she brought it up.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this whole thing's pretty fucked up.
Yeah. It's, again, real weird book.
Yeah.
Real weird book.
But, okay, so the other thing that I want to point out early on is that this book is spiritually, conceptually, very much like a Victorian era romance novel. So there are a lot of classic kind of tropes or like scenarios that these two characters or these like handful of characters in this book find themselves in that happen a lot in, say, like the Bridgerton books or whatever. Like Angelika is like in love with Will the first moment that she sees him. Right. You know, that's something that happens a lot in those old kind of romance novels. The way they speak to each other, like the language that they use obviously is kind of the time. There are all these different elements at play that I wonder if they affected your reading of the book, since you haven't really read any of those like Victorian era, Renaissance era, like romance novels.
It kind of did a little bit, because it was definitely, like you said, different than all the other romance novels I've read, which have fallen pretty solidly in the contemporary camp. I found the dialogue really fun and interesting to read, especially between Angelika and some of the side characters and her brother. Insta-love, I think, is one that I just generally don't always vibe with.
Me too.
Yeah, like we talked about this a little bit with My Killer Vacation, which was more insta-lust.
Right.
But, you know, I like a little more of a slow burn.
I do too. And again, with any romance novel, you have to
suspend
like,
your belief.
This is not real life. But I think insta love is the least believable trope for me, which is why I have the hardest time with it. But some people love it.
Yeah, this was one that was in Maggie Moves On, where Silas, the male lead, like instantly falls for Maggie. And that was, you know, Maggie Moves On is a contemporary romance, but that was a weird one for me, where I was like, yeah, sure. Okay. I'll let this slide for now.
Yeah, and I think I have a far easier time with the insta-love stuff happening in these like kind of Victorian era romances, because, I mean, if pop culture is to be believed, that seems to be a thing that happened, or at least people thought that it happened. They were like, oh, I see that person and I'm attracted to them. That means I love them.
Yeah.
So I don't have as much of a difficult time with it with like historical romance.
Right.
So like with this, that didn't really bother me that much. I was like, oh yeah, she loves him because this is a historical romance.
Well, you know, just for a lot of her inner monologue is her kind of wallowing that she doesn't have very many suitors, and that she also falls in love very easily. Mm-hmm. She names like a couple of the people that she had pined for, including like this elderly bookbinder that Victor worked with. So I think that kind of eased it a little bit into me of like, oh, she's somebody that just like, you know, she's lonely. So she falls fast. Okay, that makes it a little bit easier. And also, yeah, you know, she's kind of a weirdo. It is what it is.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, she's just kind of a nerd. And so she like misses a lot of social stuff, I feel like.
She's kind of an asshole.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's always on purpose.
I don't either.
There will be a piece of dialogue in the book where she says something to someone, and then her inner monologue is like, oh, why did I do that? Like, why did I say that like that?
Relatable.
You know? And so I feel like she's like, again, maybe a little lonely, maybe a little dorky. She's like used to hanging out just really with her brother, and she like doesn't have a lot of suitors, hasn't gone on a lot of dates, and like I think she's just like an introvert and like maybe doesn't really know how to talk to people and just comes off as an asshole sometimes. And I don't say that to like write off some of the fucked up stuff that she does. Mm-hmm. But like I read it more of like this poor girl is just like a little awkward.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny you bring this up or you explain it that way now. I fall into this trap often where I will say something so rude and not really mean it. So I give her a little bit more grace then, maybe. I'm thinking of this especially because I finally got to apologize for it, but I met some of my partner's friends for the first time last year when we went to his hometown, and one of them asked me what I did, and it was later in the evening, and I'd had a couple glasses of wine, as we all had at that point. He asked me what I did, and I was like, oh, I'm a writer, I'm a journalist. And he goes, oh, I didn't know that. And I was like, what? Are you shocked I'm not fucking boring? And I thought about it the next day and I wanted to die.
A classic Abigail line.
Yeah. I'm a defensive drunk and it's not a great look for me all the time. But I have a chip on my shoulder constantly, apparently.
I can understand. I think anyone can understand Angelika being like, oh, I said something a little fucking weird.
Yeah.
And I'm a piece of shit and I should have said it this other way, but can't unring that bell. Here we go.
Perhaps I was doing that thing where you see other people do the exact same things you do and you're so hard on them because you hate that about yourself secretly. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. For sure. You like go into defense mode and you're like, that's a bad thing to do. I totally also don't do that.
I have never done that in my life.
Exactly.
I have never said something unintentionally rude.
Right.
Never. I'm flawless.
But yeah, so I mean, obviously she does like some fucked up stuff and she is kind of an asshole, but I don't think it's always purposeful. I think she's just kind of a little weirdo.
They're both weirdos.
Every character in this book is
there are no
like bonkers.
There's like two normal characters.
Right.
Clara and Christopher.
Right. Who have just become accessories to this madness. So getting to Christopher brings us to the next kind of major section of this book, which is Angelika agrees to help Will, the monster, find out. I hate calling him a monster, but that's what they call him in the actual Frankenstein, so I'm rolling with it.
I felt her doing that, or Sally Thorne getting to that kind of confusing point too, where she was trying to describe Victor's monster.
Right.
And she just kept saying like the huge man.
The huge man.
Yeah. Which, as Wikipedia reminded me, in regular Frankenstein, the original, if you will, they say awful things about him. It's like the creature.
Yeah.
Fiend.
Right.
All those old-timey insults.
Fiend.
For monsters.
Whatever. So yeah, Angelika agrees to help Will try to figure out his identity, which is a nice thing for her to do because she very much does not want to figure it out, but she's legitimately helping. The only way she's sabotaging it is by not telling him about the ring thing.
Yes. We don't have to talk about it much, but for those keeping track at home, the first stop they go to is the morgue,
right? To
maybe get his name. They don't get it, but they make out in the morgue.
Yeah, they do make out in the morgue at 22%.
So pretty early on.
Yeah.
They have their first kiss.
Yeah, and it's kind of this same thing where it happens and then Will is like, oh God, like he feels guilty because he's like still having this thing of like, I'm super physically attracted to you, but something in my like reanimated brain is telling me that this is bad. So they come up with this kind of story where Will is like they say that he's looking for his twin brother or something.
That's what they say at first, and then he has to have like 5 different.
Yeah, they come up with all these like cover stories for him because some people are like, "Man, you look mighty familiar" or whatever. Anyway, so then they go to this military academy that's nearby where a bunch of young men live, basically, and they're like, maybe Will was there and died. Mm-hmm. Like maybe something happened, or they find out that there was some kind of like fight or something, or an accident or something.
Yes, there was an accident. And so they go to the military academy to find out if Will in his past life was involved and died.
Right.
And Angelika meets Christopher Keatings. Will is waiting outside. She goes in alone.
Right.
And she meets this guy, Christopher, who like gives her brandy and
is super nice.
Yeah, super nice and pretty helpful.
Yeah, and like flirty, but not like creepy.
Right.
And he basically like tells her like, you know, I'd like to take you out sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's kind of into it. She's not into it.
Does she just like the attention or does she like this man? That's kind of the question with him.
Yeah, and I think she likes the attention because I think at this point she's legitimately like, okay, even though I like created Will to like be my forced lover or whatever, I think I do actually like the guy.
Right.
So, you know, we've got kind of a lead up to a love triangle thing.
Yes.
Happening.
Yes. And when Christopher shows up, I'm like, fuck, maybe she should just marry this guy. I don't know.
And I think she kind of has that thought too, where she's like, this kind of would be the easier path.
If only I had met him a month earlier.
Right.
Before I reanimated this other guy.
I wouldn't have had to like go look at dicks in the morgue.
Yeah. Well, she may have enjoyed that. I don't know.
Yeah. For someone who's never had sex, she is really obsessed with dicks.
Yeah. I guess if you're looking at them in a scientific sense of which one's going to be to serve me the best as part of my stitched together lover.
True.
You know, there are options.
Okay, so then this entire like middle section of this book is like fucking off the wall. So much happens. We cannot even go through it all. This is not even that long of a book. It's like 300 pages, but there's like so much fucking stuff packed in here.
There's a lot of fucking plot.
These people have such active social lives. I could never. Are you kidding?
Oh my God, are they not exhausted?
24/7, like house guests,
right.
Dinner guests. The Frankenstein manor is like fucking bumping all the time.
All the time at this point, which is kind of funny because in the beginning she's like, no one's ever here. And then suddenly they reanimate this one guy and it's like, oh, fuck, everyone's coming to hang out.
Right.
So they make friends with the widow of the officer who was killed.
Right.
Obviously,
turns out it's not Will.
It's not Will, but they take in this widow as their new friend. Angelika's obsessed with this baby.
Yes. Yeah. The widow has a baby who's very cute.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. According to her.
Yeah. He's a baby. I don't know. Lizzie shows up to stay because she and Victor are about to get married. She's like a playwright. She sounds fucking bonkers too, but she seems pretty cool.
She is the most down to earth of this insane family.
Yes. She and Angelika are good friends, but she also, you know, takes the whole, there's 2 reanimated corpses running around with, you know, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. She's aware that the Frankenstein family is a little unusual.
A little strange.
So a bunch of stuff happens. Like, Will starts sleepwalking, which has got to be really terrifying to see like a zombie sleepwalking.
Yes.
He's looking for a book in the middle of the night, which like relatable. He tells Angelika that he'll never marry her.
In his sleepwalking state.
Yeah. So she's upset. There's so much that happens here. Lizzie is like very level-headed about the love triangle situation and is like, what if you made these 2 men fight for you?
I don't know if I'd call it level-headed. I think she just enjoys the camp and the drama of it all. But it is what I would do.
Yeah, exactly. She's level-headed about being like, don't write Christopher off.
Yes,
you know? Because Angelika's like, I'm in love with Will. And Lizzie's like, let's see what this other guy has to say.
Yeah. Will is somebody you built in your barn. Maybe this other guy's good.
So she's basically like, why don't you make them compete for you? Because Angelika is like, I think Will likes me back, but I'm not really seeing it. Like, I can feel it, but he's not like doing anything to like try to make a move. And I'm sitting here reading it and I'm like, because he doesn't know who he fucking is.
Yeah. In fact, he's actively making sure he doesn't make a move on you.
Right. But Angelika's like, I don't know, man. I just have this feeling that he's into me. And like, of course, it turns out she's right.
Right.
But Lizzie's like, you need to make him work harder for it.
True. Great advice for all men.
Yes, it is great advice, but I absolutely think you're right. And I think Lizzie is like, I'm going to sit back and watch what's about to go down here.
I very much relate to Lizzie.
This is absolutely what I would do.
Yeah. Would you not do the same?
Right.
Yeah, I totally would. Especially if I was in like, 1800s England and this was the only entertainment around.
Literally. I'm always in it for the story.
Let's watch this army officer and a literal reanimated corpse fight for a woman.
It sounds great.
Very Jane Austen of this whole thing.
There's a dinner party. They form a secret society. And I'm like, Why? What?
The whole, like...
There are, like, so many little side plots.
Yeah, Will tells them all that he was found on the side of the road and he was, never dead, but he has amnesia. But basically, he brings them all into this plot to figure out who he is, but obviously he can't tell everybody he's a corpse.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all you need to know about the secret society.
Also, at this point, like, Will is building this. Apparently, there's, like, other houses on their property.
He's just being a handyman.
Yeah, he's, like, renovating the entire Frankenstein, like, compound.
Right.
But there are apparently all these little cabins, and so he starts renovating one for himself because it feels improper to sleep across the hall from Angelika because he wants a fucking boner.
Yes.
There's, like, a really dramatic moment where Angelika offends their, like, long time of decades housekeeper, but she does it on accident because she's not very smooth.
No, she's trying to tell Mary, the housekeeper, that...
Which Mary, love that there's a Mary character, obviously.
Obviously, there's a Mary character.
Right.
We had to have a Mary in there. But she's telling Mary, suggesting that it's time for Mary to retire, without telling her, you can still live here.
Right.
And so Mary leaves.
Right.
And
right.
then...
Mary's like, oh my God, you're firing me, and this is like, y'all are my family, like, what the fuck?
Right.
And Angelika's like, oh my God, I didn't tell her that I wanted her to, like, stay here.
Yeah. Angelika is very clueless when it comes to money.
Yeah.
And not having it.
Right. Yeah. Because the other piece of this is, if you haven't figured it out by now, they're hella wealthy.
They're fucking loaded.
Yeah.
Like, at one point, she gets mad and, like, throws a bottle of perfume into the fire or something, which, like, in the 1800s, I don't know what perfume costs, but, like, perfume now is expensive.
Exactly.
Would you do that now?
No.
Yeah.
No, I still think about that. Remember when I dropped my entire bottle of my Burberry perfume? That was like 2 years ago, and I'm still upset about it.
I do remember that. That was a heartbreaking moment.
I was really upsetting. Anyway, so Mary runs off, but this is actually a very important part because she found the big man.
She did.
In the woods.
She's upset about what happened with Mary, and she goes off. She's basically walking around. I think she's going to Will's now house on the land.
Oh, yeah. She's trying to, like, sneak over there and, like, get some comfort from him.
Yes.
Because she's upset about this, like, altercation.
Yes. And instead of Will, she finds the huge man.
Yeah.
And she sees the ring on his hand and is like, oh, shit, this is my chance. And she tries to approach him. And then Victor and Will are coming out, too, and yelling and things like that. And he gets scared and basically, like, flings her into a tree, ragdoll style.
Right.
And she's unconscious.
It's very Grop from Harry Potter.
It really is.
And Hermione. Because the huge man does not mean to hurt her. He just gets scared.
Right. He got scared. And he can't talk either. So he can't communicate very well with anybody.
Yeah. He's basically like, I didn't ask to be born. What the fuck is going on? So this is like... I guess the climax of the action, if you want to call it that. They've also been, like, talking to there's this priest in town who's been kind of a side character up until now.
They know this priest because when their mother was dying of scarlet fever. Okay, so what we also know about the Frankensteins is they are adamantly unreligious.
Yes.
Very, very, science-based.
Exactly.
And a part of that is some residual trauma of the priest telling them to pray their mother's scarlet fever away, and then she dies. Mm-hmm. And then their father dies months later, presumably from a broken heart. So Victor is like, no religion, none at all.
Like, to the point where he's like, I won't be friends with anyone who's religious. Like, they've just got a bunch of, like, shared family trauma.
But then Lizzie is insisting that they get married in a church. Mm-hmm. And so that leads Angelika and Will to check out this. Conveniently, they have a chapel on the property.
Yes. Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? And they go check it out. They have kind of a tender moment in there, but also Will is like, I don't remember who I am still. But he also, in the chapel, realizes that he's pretty sure he was a religious man in his past life.
Yeah, because he's like, I'm like drawn to this space. I feel like safe here.
Right. And he also notes he feels offended when Victor says sacrilegious things like that. And as they're leaving the chapel, they see the huge man again.
Yeah.
And now he can talk.
Yes. Because Mary has been like teaching him how to talk. Because he has Mary.
That's the big revelation here, is that he has Mary, who has been missing for days and nobody knows where she is. And now we know where she is.
Yeah, she must have like been walking across the property or something and he like scooped her up.
Yeah. But that might be kind of the climax.
Yeah, this whole little like chapel big man, which leads into like the emotional climax of this book, which is when Angelika goes to see this priest, the priest who told her and Victor to like pray the scarlet fever away. And so this man all around fucking sucks.
Oh, yeah. He's corrupt. He's got like this big ruby ring on.
Yeah.
He tells Angelika they need more money so they can put in like a marble pulpit.
Right.
And
but it's like pretty clear he's like skimming off the top.
Oh, yeah. It's very clear. Like this village they live in is completely impoverished and he wants an Italian painter to come and fix their bust of Christ.
Right.
Yeah.
So. It's super shady. There's like some speculation that he's like selling bodies or some shit. Like selling bodies to the morgue.
Yeah, they suspect that at one point. I think they figure out that probably not. But
but it's believable because this guy is so sketchy.
Yeah. Not a good man of the cloth.
Right. And he's also like a bajillion years old.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's 90, which at that time I assume is like being, I don't know, like 120 this year. Yeah.
But this is a big deal because like Angelika gets some intel that there was this younger priest who was supposed to like take over for this old ass man. And he never showed up.
Yeah. And as they are standing in the cemetery where her parents are buried because he basically guilts her into going to look at their headstones or whatever, Angelika had asked earlier, like, when are you going to get a replacement? You're 1 billion years old. And he points out this one grave and he's like, that was supposed to be my replacement, but he's dead. And the name on the headstone is Arlo Northcutt.
Yeah. And so Will shows up.
The guy faints.
Yeah, the priest just like keels over.
Which, like, wouldn't you?
Right. He's like, I saw a fucking ghost.
So we know who Will is.
So Will is a priest.
Named Arlo Northcutt.
Yeah.
So we got a hot priest.
Hey, you know I love a hot priest.
We got a hot priest. What was that book that you read about?
Hot Under His Collar by Andy J. Christopher. I recommend it.
That's right.
It was so absurd.
Yep. We got a hot priest again.
Yeah.
Shout out to Andy J. Christopher and also Fleabag and all the other hot priests running around.
Yeah.
But yeah, we find out Will is a priest or was a priest.
Yeah. Which adds quite a bit to the sexual tension. And another piece of this that we haven't really been talking about, which is not super important, but if we're talking about like the complication of Will's attraction, both physically and emotionally, or Arlo, excuse me.
Now he's Arlo.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Arlo's attraction to Angelika is that Angelika really, really wants kids, and they don't know if this reanimated dick can fulfill that. And so there are like multiple layers of like a priest wanting to have sex, wanting to have perhaps a family. It's all very complicated. It was already complicated, but now it's even more so.
Yes. And what I had, as we were talking about this earlier, it's like, is this like commentary on purity culture?
Oh, that's interesting.
Of where throughout the book, up until we know who he is, Will/Arlo is like, yes, I want you so badly, but he's like, I just can't. I can't do it.
Right. And which we discover is like probably this like
residual priestish.
Right. Where he's like, I'm not allowed to like want these give in to my earthly desires.
Right. Exactly. Which, sure.
Right.
And then, so Arlo/Will knows who he is suddenly, and then is not long after able to bang Angelika.
Yeah, he's like, apparently that priestly guilt kind of goes away.
Once you find out you were a priest.
He's like, fuck it, I know who I am, so I'm not stressed anymore, so like, let's do it.
Which is also kind of a strange emotional beat of the book of where Angelika is going to see Will in the middle of the night, and then these random men on her property, and they try to attack her. And one huge man shows up and breaks 3 of their necks and just like leaves them in a pile.
Right.
Christopher is there too. He shows up after the fact.
Yeah, this is like the last scene of the movie that you're like, why is everyone here?
Right. It literally is. All the like man characters show up to save Angelika, who is okay. But we find out huge man's name is Adam. Mary has named him Adam. They get a look at the ring, and it's got a cross on it.
So just like further confirmation.
Yeah.
Basically.
And then Will takes Angelika back to his little cottage, and then they literally just have sex for a day and a half.
Yeah. They just, it's very Twilight.
Yes.
Then there's like all this other weird shit that goes down where like Christopher's pissed.
Right.
Because he's like, you don't have amnesia. You're a reanimated corpse or some shit. So then he like schemes to dig up the grave because he's like, I gotta find out what the fuck is going on here.
Yeah, he shows up at Blackthorn Manor where they live with a representative from the church and like the town magistrate and like not with literally with pitchforks, but that's what it feels like.
Yeah, it's very like, let's kill the monster.
Yeah, this is like the point in Beauty and the Beast where they all mob the castle.
Literally, yeah.
And they all are like, well, we'll just go dig up the grave.
Right.
Sure.
And then like the priest gets involved.
He basically blackmails Arlo to stay there and not be with Angelika, even though, you know, they've been doing it and they want to be together. And he's like, I'm going to tell everybody about them and they're going to burn Angelika at the stake.
Right.
And he basically blackmails Arlo into like staying there so he can retire.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, I want out. I want to go live my life of luxury with all my millions that I've skimmed off from the church.
And then Arlo agrees, and then literally a page later, he dies.
Yeah, he like collapses. He's been like kind of losing function in some of his like limbs and, you know, outer extremities, basically. So he collapses. He dies again. Yeah,
Angelika spends like 36 hours just keeping him alive.
Yeah.
This poor guy. He dies like 2 more times. She just keeps bringing him back. And then Victor figures out he just like needs blood.
Right.
And so, yeah, they do this complicated blood transfusion between Angelika and Arlo. And
there's like some symbolism here that she's like literally using her own life to like bring him back to life.
Mary shows up again. She's fine.
Again, the gang's all here.
The gang's all here watching.
Mary's like, I'm sorry, I thought you were kicking me out, which upset me because y'all are my family.
Right.
They figure out that these blood transfusions are like necessary to like keep the reanimated corpses kicking.
Yeah, so Will gets to, or Arlo, I should say, continues to live. He and Angelika get married. Adam is hanging out on the property with Victor and Lizzie.
He's no longer a priest. Arlo's no longer a priest.
He's no longer a priest.
You know, I was really hoping that this was going to end with some kind of like very forward thinking, like I can be a priest and also be married and we can be progressive, you know?
Nope.
Like, that's where I was hoping it was going to go.
Nope, it's not. He fathers a child.
Yeah, turns out the second biggest dick in the morgue still works.
Which, okay, so you're telling me this guy can't produce his own blood, but he can produce viable sperm?
You know, if my high school sex ed classes are to be believed, you only need the one sperm. Only one needs to get through.
Just one living sperm.
Just one sperm.
They have a baby. They live away from everybody else. They travel the world. They have a baby. Everyone lives happily ever after.
It's very sweet.
Sure. The end.
So we've already kind of talked about this, but overall impressions, Abigail.
This book was so fucking weird.
Yeah.
This was a tough one for me. I slogged through it, especially once I hit like 40%. And just, as we've kind of talked about, so much happens.
Right.
To the point where it's kind of hard to follow. There's a lot of like side characters that are coming and going who have all kind of weird different motivations. Christopher and the widow get married. That happens. So, he's fine or whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe I couldn't get past that she was fucking a dead guy either. But I don't know. This was a very strange one for me.
By the time they started actually fucking, I had like kind of low-key forgotten that he was a dead guy. So it's kind of nice that they didn't do it until, like, I didn't forget, but I had like moved past it. Kind of. Yeah. So maybe it's kind of good that they didn't do it until like pretty close to the end.
Oh yeah, I'm glad they did it when he was presumably not like popping stitches and bleeding everywhere or whatever.
And presumably like able to consent.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think, I think he's been living with them for 3 months at the point where they, finally get together. He's decided that, yes, I want this. I want to be with Angelika. So, of course, we always have that underlying issue of should he have been brought back to life?
Right.
But,
I don't think this is a book that you can ask too many existential questions of.
No. I was also, earlier on in the book, I was getting frustrated with Angelika and Will, and they were kind of like bickering back and forth, and like Angelika would get all upset and be like, why don't you love me? Or something like that, or like kind of wallow in her insecurities. And I was like, God, I wonder if this is going to be like real Frankenstein where he murders her at the end.
Oh, shit.
Because in actual Frankenstein, the monster does murder Victor Frankenstein at the end. Or no, he doesn't murder him, but he kills all his friends and family, basically.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, is he going to murder somebody?
Yeah, that one does not have a happy ending.
No, it does not. It has a very, very sad ending.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was an odd one for me. I feel like we do spoiler alerts for these episodes if they're not obvious enough, but I'm also kind of like, does it really matter? I don't know. Just kind of hear about this weird book.
I know. Yeah, I mean, this was a weird one for me also, just because it was a weird one. I didn't dislike it. I think very early on in the book, it clicked for me that I was like, oh, this one's just going to be a good time. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not going to ask too much of this book, and it is not going to ask too much of me. I'm just going to let it be what it is, which is this, like, ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
And so, like, once that clicked for me, I was able to move through it just with the mindset of, like, well, this is fucking weird and funny.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if after you had told me about it being fan fiction, I just applied more of the ridiculous aspects of fan fiction to it, of like the One Direction genre of fan fiction or whatever, where it's like way, way, way over the top,
right?
And not this is over the top, but it's I don't know. This is a weird kind of genre.
Well, and this felt to me similar to, we've talked about this before. I've read like a handful of like Disney movie retellings.
Yeah.
And this felt very spiritually similar to that, because it kind of is what it is. I mean, what are those other novels if not Disney movie fan fiction? And so I think like since I had like a category to put it in too, like I was able to slot it into this place in my brain where I was like, okay, this is not a book I'm going to ask too much of. Like yeah. I know this is just going to be, it's October 1st and I'm reading this dumb Frankenstein book.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of that being said, I'm still, even though this was bizarre, I'm still like a fan of Sally Thorne. And I know you haven't read any Sally Thorne.
No, this was my first Sally Thorne.
Yeah.
So
the fact that you didn't love it, don't let it put a bad taste in your mouth.
No, I don't think it will. I think, I can respect that she tried to do something real weird that she admittedly knew was weird and went for it, I think that's fine.
And I think this is a book, too, that you benefit from reading the acknowledgments at the end because you register, and I'm glad I told you to do it, because then you register that she also does not take this book super, super seriously.
Right. And so I think maybe what I wanted from it was, one, a more simplistic plot that leaned maybe more into it being really fucking ridiculous. But instead we kind of got a more complicated plot where a lot happens, like seemingly at the same time.
Right.
You got a lot of side characters with different plots and motivations.
But these historical, like, Victorian era romances are like that. You know, like, there are 500 characters in every fucking Bridgerton book.
That's true, too.
And I don't know who half of them are.
That's true.
You know? So I think she was very true to the, like, genre she was trying to emulate also.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I can't blame her for doing something weird.
I know. And she said in the author's note, too, that this was like a pandemic, like, during isolation, she was writing Frankenstein fan fiction.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I didn't do that during the pandemic. I was less productive.
Exactly.
So, who am I to judge? But
well, I mean, yeah, I just thought this was there were just so many moments that I just, like, found myself laughing because it was just silly.
Yeah.
And I think to anyone listening, if you've made it this far and you haven't read the book, it's just know that we're both a little 50-50 on this one.
Yeah.
But if you're able to just go in and be like, I just want something fun, like, turn my brain off. This was great for me during my, like, busy work season because it was extremely, like, candy.
Yeah.
So I think if that's what you're looking for, then it's worth picking up. If it's not what you're looking for, then maybe go for a different Sally Thorne.
Yeah.
Or maybe read our next book with us.
Yes. What a great segue.
Abigail, would you like to do the honors of reading the blurb this time?
Yes, I would love to. So our next spooky read for October is Go Hex Yourself by Jessica Clare, which came out in April. So hopefully some of you have already read it. But, you know, it's about witches, so we're going to do it in October. So here we go. When Reggie Johnson answers a job ad in the paper, she's astonished to find that she's not really applying for work at her favorite card game, Spellcraft, the Magic King. Instead, she's applying to be an actual familiar for an actual witch, as in real magic. The new job has a few perks: great room and board, excellent pay, and she's apprenticing to a powerful witch. Sure, the witch is a bit eccentric, and sure, there was that issue with the black cat Reggie would prefer to forget about. Like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. The biggest problem, however, is Warlock Ben Magnus, her employer's nephew, and the most arrogant, insufferable, maddening man to ever cast a spell. Reggie absolutely hates him. Yes, enemies to lovers.
Love it.
He's handsome, but he's also bossy and irritating and orders her around. Ben's butt might look great in a crystal ball vision, but that's as far as it goes. But when someone with a vendetta targets the household, she finds herself working with Ben to break a deadly curse. Apparently, when they're not fighting like cats and dogs, things get downright bewitching.
Hey.
So, that's our next book.
I like that she's not the witch.
I know, yeah. I feel like all the witchy ones I've read so far, she's the witch.
Yeah.
And then the guy is either also a witch or not a witch.
Yeah, or some other supernatural being.
So, there we go. Go Hex Yourself by Jessica Clare. The blurb on the front is from Allie Hazelwood, so if you're a fan of her, she enjoyed this book, called it the sexiest, most bewitching take on enemies to lovers I've read in ages.
Yes.
Ooh, I'm excited.
I'm really excited too. Maybe I'll start this tonight. Oh, what a great segue.
Great. Katie, what are you reading right now?
So I decided that I'm going to use this month to make my way through like every Halloween-y anything on my TBR. I'm like not letting myself read anything else except for this nonfiction book I'm reading about the Galapagos Islands.
Wow. Did you go to the Galapagos recently?
I knew you were going to be Knew you were going to react that way. It's a very interesting book about evolution. It won a Pulitzer. It's very good.
I'm not shitting on it. You should read it. It sounds great.
Yeah, it is super interesting. It's about finches, so I'm learning a lot about birds. Anyway.
I love finches.
Yeah. Did you know there's a species of finch in the Galapagos that perches on the backs of the boobies and pecks at them and fucking drinks their blood?
Oh my God.
They also drink the blood of their own dead.
I thought this was going to be a cute fact.
No, they're called vampire finches.
Ooh, spooky.
Isn't that wild? Anyway, so that's the only, I guess it is still kind of spooky. That's the only spooky bit that's come up in the book.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty spooky.
That one's called The Beak of the Finch for anyone who cares. But the current spooky read that I have going on right now, a few years ago, I read the first book in the These Witches Don't Burn series, and I think it's just a duology. It's by Isabel Sterling. It's YA, like witchy lesbians, essentially. They're great. It's very cute. I read that a few years ago, and then I got the sequel, which came out in 2020, but I had never read it. And so then I just reread the first one again, and I started the second one, This Coven Won't Break, today. Okay. So that's what I'm reading right now.
How is it so far?
So it's gotten mixed reviews, like both online and from people that I know in real life. I think it's a fun, like October, very light read. So I'm going to do that, but I'm not far enough in it yet. So maybe I'll switch to Go Hex Yourself. I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm in the middle of 100 Other Girls by Iman Hariri Kia, which we mentioned on our last episode of being probably like Devil Wears Prada.
Is it?
Kind of. There's like it's funny because in the earlier on in the book, so it's about an assistant at a magazine that sounds a lot kind of like Rolling Stone mixed with Teen Vogue kind of sort of thing. So it's not like a high fashion magazine. It's kind of like a cool indie music cultured magazine. It sounds
like
very
nylon.
Yeah, like nylon. Yeah, it's called vinyl, so it probably is exactly like nylon.
Probably is, yeah.
But it's funny because early on in the book where she shows up like on her first day, she's getting a tour and they're like, "Did you think this was going to be like Devil Wears Prada where you get a makeover?" And I was like, "I sure did." Yeah. So I'm about halfway through it. I had to take a pause to do Angelika Frankenstein, so I need to pick it back up and finish it because I am determined to finish it. It's very Gen Z. I don't know how I'm going to end up feeling about this one because the protagonist is a little frustrating at times. And also there's just a ton of kind of Gen Z speak in it, which even though I am technically Gen Z, I'm on the older end of Gen Z, which is a weird place to be. And I don't know how I'm feeling it, but the main character is Iranian American and offers a really good perspective of what it's like to grow up in New York City after 9/11 and the challenges that come with that, and being like a woman in media and being a woman of color in media and things like that. So I feel like I want to finish it. We'll see how I feel at the end of it. But right now the main character is frustrating me, and I think it might just be because she's young and naive. So
yeah.
I feel like I hold a lot of my heroines to a high standard, and I don't always need to do that. And I think I need to start trying to break out of that. So.
That sounds healthy.
That does sound healthy. I worked that out on my own.
Well, as always, thank y'all for listening. Our next book, again, is Go Hex Yourself. So go ahead and pick that one up from our Bookshop page if you would like to support us. The link is going to be in the show notes, but it's also bookshop.org/shop/50% pod. Or if you just search like 50% podcasts on Bookshop, you'll find us. We make $0, negative dollars from this podcast. So
we do.
If you buy our books from there, if you're going to buy them anyway, you could support us. We get a little kickback, and so does the independent bookstore of your choice.
Yeah. Also, you can get a free book from us right now.
Yeah.
We are doing a giveaway on our Instagram page of Angelika Frankenstein. So if you want to give it a shot, if you just want to get a free book from us, the giveaway ends on Saturday after this episode comes out. So yeah, go find it on our Instagram page and help, I don't know, participate in our first giveaway. I'm sure we'll do another one at some point.
Help me get rid of a book in my house.
Yeah.
So for reference, that is Saturday, October 15th, 2022.
Yep.
That giveaway will end.
Yep. Tell your friends.
Yep.
Get a book.
Get
probably
a book.
nice note from us.
We will write you a nice note.
Yeah. We would love to write you a nice note.
Yes. So, as always, thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. See you next time.